New Jersey public schools. They are ranked among the best in the country, but there are also issues when it comes to the access to certain public schools, with critics saying it's based on where a student lives. Joining me now to talk about the issue is Erica Jedynak, who is the Chief Operating Officer for Yes, Every Kid. You recently wrote an op-ed about public school access. What's the main issue?
The main issue is here in New Jersey, public schools are restricted by where families live and de facto wealth and income, and functionally race as well. And other parts of the country are breaking up this very antiquated system of assigning kids to schools based on where they live. Unlike other areas of public life and public goods like hospitals, parks, pools, those are things that are restricted based on where someone lives. In Newark, families, they can't go to another school. They are assigned to where they live. There are problems and issues in those schools. And in plenty of other cases, there may be better public schools that are a fit for their family. Just recently, Barbara Martinez with the New Jersey Children's Fund also wrote about this and how she grew up in Newark. And her mom ended up lying about where they lived, and she actually went to Belleville Public School until she was kicked out. And the school district actually followed her every day to track her. It's a very unfortunate situation for a lot of families here in New Jersey.
There's a lawsuit that was recently filed in 2018 State Superior Court in Mercer County against the state by the Latino Action Network, the NAACP, and other organizations, alleging that New Jersey's public schools are intensely segregated racially and economically.
The lawsuit really describes school district boundaries as they are. They are on top of very old redlining, right, which has discriminatory practices from real estate going back to the 1930s. But that's how school district boundaries are essentially laid out today, where families don't get access based on where they live and de facto wealth and income. And this is an issue that spans across the political spectrum. So from the NAACP to the Latino Action Network, 50K, New Jersey Children's Fund, Yes, Every Kid, there is really broad support for changing these really outdated practices. Actually, we did a poll, Yes, Every Kid Foundation, earlier this year and found that 75% of Americans support allowing families to access the public school that works best for their kids. Not only does it have the ability to change the status quo, the system, when things are not moving in the New Jersey state legislature, but it would functionally change how property taxes function in New Jersey. And we have the highest property taxes in the nation, yet education and housing are still bundled together. So functionally, families are stuck with what they can afford.
What do you think would be the ultimate effect of removing these so-called boundary lines in education around the state?
Number one, we would have a more innovative education ecosystem. What we're seeing from other states who are getting rid of discrimination based on residential assignment is that kids can go to the programs, the schools that work best for them. And it's not just about test scores. This is a lot of times about certain programs, right? A football team, an engineering program. Every school is different and has different expertise, and we should have a much more personalized, customized approach to education and just open up public school access and flexibility for families. So this would be a really big deal, not only breaking down these arbitrary boundaries set by politicians and functionally special interest groups, but it would open up the door for a much more innovative approach to how we educate our kids.
So what is unique about this issue is that it is bipartisan. In what way do you see this particular problem uniting conservatives and progressives?
There are a number of groups on both the left and the right that are supportive of opening up public schools for flexibility and access. And we've also seen this in Idaho, Arkansas, West Virginia, Arizona, states with Republican governors where there are almost universal votes in the state legislature to get rid of discrimination based on where kids live. And this is exciting, I think, in a time where politics is very volatile. There's this hyper-partisan nature to a lot of what happens in the public policy sphere. And here we have an issue that is so publicly popular. Now we have the state legislature that's lagging, right? And that's part of why, these groups have had to file a lawsuit. And so here you have the public who's actually very supportive, but the legislature is lagging.
Now, in New Jersey, we have a situation where there are schools, particularly in the suburbs of New Jersey, where there are very high property taxes. And the people who live there saying, hey, listen, we're paying a lot of money so we can educate our children the best we can. Is it fair for students who come from other districts, maybe more urban districts, to be able to access these schools?
I think it is fair. And we should approach education with a mindset of abundance instead of scarcity. All these other areas of public life, we wouldn't turn away kids from the public hospital who needed care. We wouldn't turn away kids at a public pool, a public park. I can walk in right now to any library in the state of New Jersey and get access to knowledge. So we should approach the same thing with something as so important as educating our children. And think about just radically unbundling the housing market and the school system here, because it is not fair for kids who live in Newark or Jersey City or even Short Hills who may have a better experience in a different public school. Every child deserves access, no matter who they are or where they live.
Erica Jedynak from the organization Yes Every Kid, thank you very much for your time.